So they're like, my doctor told me to go on keto. So, okay, I will follow that plan. We went on keto. They bombed keto. They actually were sicker on keto than they were. So one of the plans I like to, since it is the one size fits you approach, what I found to be most successful is...
Welcome back to the Regenhard Report. Today we have a special guest, Francesca, which is owner-operator of Balanced Nutrition. And it's interesting where we get to bring on amazing individuals onto this podcast to also shed light to other individuals on how they can better themselves. And today we're going to be talking a lot about nutrition and fitness and health and just overall how to make the one body we have the best one we can. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. So you're not born and raised here in Florida, right?
Nope.
From a different part of this amazing country. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got down here to Southwest Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the health and wellness industry for about 25 years now.
Awesome.
I used to live in New Jersey.
Okay.
I used to own and
I
operate.
hear that accent a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Jersey girl. So yeah, I used to own and operate a wellness, fitness and wellness studio in New Jersey.
Awesome.
And pretty much did a lot of fitness. I had stretch therapists. I had, small group classes. And then we also focused a little bit on healthy eating and nutrition as well. So I did that for a while. Obviously, what brought me down here was the pandemic. And what really got me started into fitness was I was a pretty sick teenager. I was an anorexic teenager.
Okay.
So food and fitness saved my life.
Yeah.
And it got me into this path and it led me into this journey where I wanted to be able to help other people. So I thought I was going to go into more of a physical therapy-esque type career, but I wasn't excited about that because I didn't want to kind of be around people that were already upset about where they were. I wanted to take them and enlighten them and bring them into an area and a journey where they've never thought they were before.
Right.
So I got into personal training. Whoever thought that was a career? Well, it's been a 25 plus year career for me.
Yeah.
It's been the most rewarding career I've ever been in. I did that for a while. I got certified in Pilates and all different types of aspects of fitness. And then I realized that the only thing that really could heal you was food, not just fitness. So it's 80% nutrition and it was 20% of your exercise when I was ill. Mm-hmm. So I really dove into understanding nutrition and I hired food coaches and health coaches and all different types of people to help me with my journey and get me better, which then led me want to do it for other people.
Right.
So I ended up going to the School of Integrative Nutrition in Manhattan, and I got my food and health coaching through there. And I went back and got my master's in clinical nutrition sciences and learned about blood work and really more of the person as a whole as far as nutrition and wellness goes, as opposed to just what's in a textbook and because again, I look at it is your approach to fitness is a one size fits you approach. So no one workout is going to work and no one nutrition plan is going to work. So if you can incorporate the two, you've got a very well-rounded body and lifestyle plan.
Right.
So that's where my journey started, and it's been a great ride. You learn new things every day. Mm-hmm. I recently decided that I wanted to do a lot more specializing in my nutrition because I'm seeing that a lot of people that I'm working with, it's not just about weight loss, which is something that I do as well.
Right.
But it's autoimmune's a big thing. Gut health is a big thing. And inflammation. A lot of us, especially, women carry a lot of inflammation based on certain foods and when our hormones change and our exercises could be too much. And there's so many different aspects. So I like to take the individual as a whole, talk to them about what they're currently doing, and then understand their likes and their dislikes, because no one's going to follow a plan that they don't enjoy. You're going to follow a plan that is exactly that, a plan. So my plans are customized to you. It's basically personal training for food. So I give them things that they enjoy eating. I teach them recipes, food shopping tips, like all kinds of, alternatives to things that could actually help them live a happier and healthier, eating life.
Love it. Love it. And obviously now at this point in your journey, you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business where you're able to help people and customize it specifically to them. Mm-hmm. So I want to back up to the beginning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you went through some probably tough and dark times, as a teenager that you were kind of talking about. There might be some people out there that are going through that, right? How do you kind of self-diagnose yourself and understand, that point of your life. And if someone's in that, how do they kind of take that and address where they're currently at, and how do they change?
Gosh, for me, and I see this in some people that I work with, there were certain aspects of my life that I think I just wasn't happy with. When I was, I guess now they consider it like girl bullies or things like that, but I was a more mature individual as far as like body wise. So I was very embarrassed and ashamed of what I looked like and what I was, which I shouldn't have been. I was I should have embraced beauty and all of that at that point in time, but I didn't. So what I did was, in order to kind of shelter myself, which is what I see in a lot of the people that I work with, I basically deprived myself of food. And I get a little emotional when I talk about it, because I think about it going like, why would I do that to myself? But I see people that do that because there's other aspects of their life. There's that, what they call it, that full circle of life, that there was certain components that I just they weren't fulfilled for me yet. And as I was getting older and I was progressing through things, I think I realized how I was able to handle that. And I think you have to seek out help whenever possible. So I was very blessed to have and I still have an amazing family and great parents that helped me get the guidance that I needed through speaking to people and getting, a fitness coach, getting someone to help me with my nutrition, where I think I dropped that barrier of being so much of not self-love. I did not have self-love.
Do you think it's even worse today with how much people are online and different things, and the editing they always say, or what filters right?
Yeah.
Like they make jokes about that all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worse now for our society, or do you think maybe some people are speaking out? So, what's your thoughts on that?
It's definitely not easy. We'll say that. I think that social media, there's points where I was like, wow, I'm so glad that I grew up in a time where there was no social media, because I have young nieces, and I see that they're always on their phones, and I see them sometimes get really hard on themselves with anything, with school, with friends, with their clothing, with what they feel they should act or be like. So yeah, I do think it's really hard. I think social media makes everybody think that they should be like somebody else instead of being like who they actually are.
Right.
And I think understanding, and one of the things that you still learn this, who are we?
Right.
What's our why? What's our reason?
Yeah.
So I think that that's a big part of it. And I think we're looking at other people to try to answer that question, when we should maybe go back to I used to do a lot of reading. I still do a lot of reading, a lot of self-help, a lot of self-improvement books.
Amen to that, yeah.
It's great. It's a way for you to really think about yourself. So yes, I do think that we're looking for other people to fill that void. And to, if it's like, if someone looks a certain way, well, I want to do exactly what they did, when it doesn't benefit you at all, because that's not who you as an individual was meant to do.
It just goes back to we have to look internally, right? And you could even use that from the same analogy as like business owners need to look inside their business, right? Rather than like working in it, they need to look from the outside back in, and we need to do that for ourselves, our body, our mental, our faith, different things like that. So I think it's gotten worse too. I agree. Unfortunately, more and more we see this online, and we think that's reality. And social media is just posting usually the good.
Yep.
It's never posting the tough. It's never and I will say I enjoy following and interacting with the people that are posting the real stuff. And that's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, is to tell the honest truth, right?
Yeah.
The tough things to say, the challenging things. I had an individual the other day talking about a charity and how meaningful it was. And, he kind of got teary-eyed on it, right? Yeah. And it's like, that's tough things to talk about, but it's real things, and it's what other people are going through. So if you're out there, you're looking online and you see, the model that you aspire to be, probably it's photoshopped a little bit, photo editing, different things like that. And, one of the things I like is a lot of the women are posting the like Instagram pose, and then next to it, it's like their normal pose.
Yeah.
And it's like night and day difference.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, that's, within
it's not really
minutes.
how your belly looks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, like that's very different. So anyways, kudos to the people that are being real out there and authentic, and not just showing the best sides of them. So.
Well, and from a career standpoint, what frustrates people in our industry is you have people that are out there right now that are giving advice and they don't have the knowledge or information to really do that. And when people are like, oh, I saw this on a TikTok, and I was, that cringes. That just makes me crazy. But
the fake influencers.
Yeah, that's really because we've really like dug in and we've studied and we've learned and we've dissected and we've done research papers and we've really understood like the body as a whole from fitness and from a nutritional standpoint. And to see kind of these people get up there and do that,
that goes back to fact checking,
for
right?
sure.
Go back and actually do your due diligence, right? And make sure what you're consuming is true.
Right.
And from a credible source, right? We're in real estate, my industry big time is real estate focused, is like, that's what title work is for. You're going to spend that extra few $1,000s to make sure you're getting the property that you actually should be getting, right? And it's the same thing if you're going to take health advice, you're going to take, whatever, help from X, Y, and Z person. If it's online, just make sure it's credible.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
if it's not, go find some credible information.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And that's where it's like social media, I love it in a lot of ways, but it's like some person could go viral from some random video and now they think they're the best. And it's like, no, that's not true, right?
No, for sure.
So let's dive in. You definitely help in a few different ways, right? First, you said autoimmune disease, right? What is that?
So autoimmune is, there's so many different ones. I mean, an autoimmune could be, what a lot of people have is IBS. It could be Crohn's, colitis. It could be rheumatoid arthritis. It could be any kind of something that's attacking our immune system that could be causing inflammatory responses or things like that. And I work with, again, a lot of people that have autoimmune GI issues, which is some of the ones that I had just mentioned. And, then your regular GI issues, which could just be from food sensitivities or food issues that you didn't even know you had. But to be honest, as we do get older, our food issues change. What we were able to eat when we were a kid is not the same things that we can eat now as adults. I mean,
Right.
I'm one of those people. I mean, I ended up, I'm Italian and I have a gluten intolerance. So yeah, which is really hard for me.
Yeah, how do you do it?
Wow. It's one of those things where you don't live to eat, you eat to live. So I just find that, I'm okay with it and I find alternatives and it is what it is.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that. So when they do come and they work with me, they're like, I don't understand why. And autoimmune and GI stuff can lead to issues with your skin, issues with your hormones. It could lead to fatigue. There's so many different things that it could lead to that a lot of people don't really understand. And there's so many different GI issues and every person responds differently. There's not one blanket definition for what a person that has certain GI issues will experience.
So what are some indications if listeners out there or someone's like, I feel that I'm not feeling good. Maybe I have that, right? And obviously you're not a doctor and you're not, diagnosing someone right now. But what are some, with your past clients, what are some indications they had that kind of proved to them, hey, let's go get some blood work, let's go get checked out, and let's see if I have something that could be negatively impacting me?
Well, I'll speak for myself because I had the issue
Perfect.
first. So one of the things that happened with me is I just got a lot of bloating, abdominal bloating out of nowhere. I would eat something, abdominal bloating. I would be like uncomfortable. My energy was a little low. I don't know. I didn't have a glow. I just didn't feel like I was something just didn't feel right. And I was, I wasn't able to, my weight was fluctuating up and down a little bit. And there was just a lot of and again, it's very different for each person, but really the abdominal bloating was the worst part of it.
Okay.
And I ended up going to a physician and I said, look, I don't understand what's going on. I've been getting these pains. It's usually, after I eat stuff, I can't understand why. And we did a blood work and stuff like that. And that's where they found out that I had the sensitivity. And a lot of people don't really think about getting blood work for a sensitivity. I think now they do more because now it's more aware. It's more out in your, it's out in the open. It's more in your face because now there's a lot of different products that are gluten-free and dairy-free and, soy-free, nut-free. So all of those things, there's a lot. So
Can't
there's
keep
a lot
up with everything.
And a lot of those things will lead to certain GI distress because like I said, there's so many different ones that, it's understanding the person's diet that you can really understand what should you be putting in and what should you be taking out.
So at the end of the day, if you're feeling uncomfortable, go get something checked out. Go get blood work.
Go to your primary. Go to a doctor, the gastrointestinal. Get yourself some blood work. Just let them know like the areas that you aren't feeling your best, and usually you'll know that it's all within the gut system. And our gut is the host for the immunity. If our immune system is weak, usually if you're finding that you're getting a lot of colds or things like that, you may want to like check your gut health, make sure that you're taking like the proper supplements and things like that. So yeah, definitely refer to doctors for that for sure.
Cool. All right. So I have a question because I've heard this. I don't know if it's true or not. But a lot of people over the years have said there's a lot more intolerances because they will completely cut it out and then their body can't actually, in a sense, process it once they cut it out. Is that like a myth or like what's going on with that? Because I know there's a few different, I guess, assumptions. They're like, well, if you cut it out completely, then your body gets used to never being able to, digest it, process it, handle it. And then once you reintroduce it, it's 10 times worse, right? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's so crazy because, there's so many different like puzzle pieces for this really. I really think that the reason that we have had such high amounts of issues with stuff like that is our food industry is very different. Okay, everything is in a box. It's so hard to find fresh. Like when I was a kid, you could go to a farmer's market, get fresh produce, get whatever you could get that was actually fresh. But now we're like, there's so much mass producing of things, we actually don't know what we're taking in. And I think that a lot of it could be both, to be honest. The answer is we really don't know. I know that when I've had clients that take out certain wheat products that have caused them distress, they feel great when they're off of it. The minute they get back on it, inflammation markers jump up. Their stomach hurts. They're bloated. They've gained 1.5 pounds on the scale. Like because when you have internal bloat for some people, that happens. So I think that, again, that goes back and forth. So I think that what happens with that is I think it just goes to show that the food's just not the same and our bodies just don't digest it the same. When I was a kid, I ate peanut butter and jelly at a normal table. Now we can't. Why is that? I don't know. I think it's the way that the food industry is. I think that.
Why is that? Why do you think it's so bad?
Well,
is it margins? Is it profit? Is it?
It could be everything. It could be a little bit of everything. It could be the fact that we mass producing for means of just getting more money quicker for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot longer to grow a bunch of real fresh zucchinis and cucumbers than it does to mass produce some stuff like in the box. And I think people think also that frozen isn't as good as fresh. It's just as good. So if it's there, buy it. I also think there's a little bit of a disconnect on how...
you hit something. Sorry, I actually want to talk about that. Everyone says, oh, you froze fruit, it loses all its nutrients.
No.
So that's not true?
No, it actually has more.
How does it have more?
Well, because you're taking it right from the ground. They it's frozen. It goes right into freezer mode where it's like when you pick it out and then let's say you have a bunch of like strawberries and it'll like sit there, the nutrient contents will start to diminish as it hits the sun or as it goes through transport or anything like that. So yeah, it's funny. I talk to my clients all the time and I'm like, you can use frozen, right? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, they're like, but it's frozen. I'm like, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I definitely, now we have all these great products to take a frozen vegetable and like make it great. Like an air fryer or
Okay, air
crock
fryer
pot.
is the best thing
My favorite
that has
thing,
hit
yes.
any kitchen. If you don't have an air fryer, go out.
Agreed,
I should have some
100%.
Amazon link affiliate something and give you guys like every person does. But no, just go Google an air fryer and go get it.
Agree.
It's the best thing
You
ever.
don't even need an oven anymore.
No.
Literally, I do all of that. I'm in the process of putting together a recipe book, and like half of my stuff says buy an air fryer.
Seriously, it's the best investment you'll ever do.
Absolutely.
All right, so another question on fruit. If you blend it and make a smoothie, does it change how your body reacts to the fruit rather than consuming it like eating a banana versus pulverizing a banana in a food, in a smoothie?
Well, I mean, if you think about like little kids eating like mashed up, like jarred fruit, I mean, they're still getting the same nutrients. And anything that's liquefied is always more nutrient absorbed.
So you can absorb it actually better.
Liquid's always been a better form of absorption for some people, yeah.
The reason I ask that is I've heard a lot of, this is the problem, is like so many different studies or this and that, and it's hard to know what is true, right? And so they were posting and talking, and I've seen a lot of it, so that's why it's a common thing, is if you make a fruit smoothie, you pretty much it will spike your insulin levels because it's more sugar processed quicker or something like that. And then people are saying it's true. Some people are saying it's opposite. So anyways, it's just an interesting topic right now.
Yeah, well, I love that. My food theory with that would probably be, and I get all kinds of crazy questions, is it depends on the type of fruit. So we have something called a glycemic index.
Yes.
Everyone now, I also work with people that have all these crazy A1C numbers.
Okay.
So glycemic index. When I'm a big smoothie girl, like I love my smoothie bowls and things like that. I like to make my smoothie, put fresh fruit on it. But what I'll say to my clients is, look at the glycemic index. If you have a pineapple, banana, melons, those are higher in sugar. So if you're taking a whole banana and you're throwing it into your smoothie, and the smoothie will probably, if you have a complete meal smoothie that maybe if they have like some super greens or some super reds, which are your fruits and vegetables, that'll naturally have a little bit of sugar in it, right? And then if you add a whole banana, and let's say then you add like a handful of maybe you add like 2 or 3 like pineapples, it's some like tropical smoothie, you could be looking at like a 40 gram of sugar smoothie. Now, everyone will say to me, this is the next question, but it's fruit. It is fruit, but too much fruit isn't always a good thing. It's the balance system. That's why the company's called Balanced Nutrition. It's a balance. So I'll say to people,
Mic drop. Mic drop.
So I like
Don't drop these mics. No,
right. I like to freeze my bananas in slices and use them that way.
Good idea.
To answer a little bit of that question, that's really what I think it is. Think about the types of fruits that you're using in your smoothies, as opposed I would always go like lower glycemic. If you want anything, berries. Berries are the best.
I learned a lot more about that. Fruit, I honestly, truthfully, any fruit, I feel like, well, I'm eating fruit. So I'm kind of on that stereotypical person. I will say I did learn a lot more on the vegetable side, though.
Yeah.
Like carrots and stuff like that. I was like, whoa, like I didn't know that until I started doing a little bit more calorie counting and macros and stuff. But like, let me ask you this. A fruit sugar, right? Gram of sugar from fruit, whatever you want to do it, however you're supposed to say it, versus a candy, right? Is it the same sugar?
It's
Does
different.
your body react the same?
It doesn't react. So there's a different yes, candied sugar versus a piece of fruit sugar is definitely going to be different. I have people say to me all the time, well, isn't the banana better than the chocolate bar? Yes, but we don't need to have like tons of bananas or
Gotcha.
So I look at it like, again, sugars are, no matter what it is, sugar is going to spike, but it's the type of sugar. Is it a processed sugar versus a cane sugar, monk fruit, coconut? There's so many different types. Stevia. Like there's
we opened a can of worms there.
There's so many different types.
So is artificial that bad for you? Come on.
Well, years ago when I was first studying nutrition, you had the pink, the yellow, and the blue packages. If you had those in your house, everyone had them in their house. My family did as well. Now it's like, it's the death packages. Like those are the ones that are causing, the GI distress. It's anything like, your fake sugars. If something on a package says no sugar, don't believe it. You want to look in the back and read your ingredients. I teach this to all of my clients. It has sugar. If it's got ethanol or allulose or sucrose or xylitol. All of those things
Sound
are
like
in it.
chemicals.
Yeah. So again, the fruit that has the real sugar is obviously better because it's a real piece of fruit. No matter what you're doing to make the candy bar, it's going to be processed. So there's something within that making of the candies that has these added sugars, and there's different types of sugars. There could be palm oils. There's all, and you've got the oils as well. All of those things are going to add to, pro-inflammatory markers.
Give me a little bit of a high level here. If I need a sugar to add to my coffee because I just can't drink it without, right? Mm-hmm. Is it cane sugar? Like, which one should I kind of lean towards? Like,
there's so many different ones.
But if I had to go one, if you were like, out of all of them, the lesser of some evil, right? Because they're all some evil, right? But like, which one would you steer towards? Because some people just can't cut it out.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm very transparent with myself. So I personally use stevia.
Okay.
Because it comes from the plant. Sometimes I'll put they come in like little tinctures and like a liquid. I've tried everything. I've tried all types of different sugar substitutes. I've tried sugar in the raw. So I think it's something that's more natural, like sugar in the raw. You could use a little cane sugar, but again, maybe dial down the dosage.
Okay.
I do have people that love the monk fruit, but at the end of the day, it's still sugar. So maybe just
still going to affect your body, right?
Lessen,
in a sense,
but
okay.
It'll affect it differently. It'll affect how it just causes, inflammatory marker responses.
Okay. It's still sugar, still will affect you in some way. I want to ask you about the a million different diets / restrictions and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'll say from I've been kind of in the, I guess, world of fitness. I love working out. I've done different diets. I've done different things. I will say this, there's so many that I was getting asked a lot because I actually worked at a supplement store when in college. And so it's, hey, take your fish oils, different things like that. And that was my college gig. And, people would ask, and I never knew how to respond to them. So I ended up trying a lot of them. So I tried the carnivore, I tried the, paleo, I've tried them, almost all of them, just to give it I guess, a valid effort, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all interesting, right? And they probably work for different people. My honest opinion, it goes back to calories in, calories out, right? That's what has always kind of worked for me. What's your thought on it? What's kind of your suggestion when it comes to, eating right, different things like that? Is it specific to each person, or thoughts on that?
Oof, it's 100% specific to each person. I've worked with people where their doctors were telling them to go on keto. So they're like, my doctor told me to go on keto. So, okay, I will follow that plan. We went on keto. They bombed keto. They actually were sicker on keto than they were. So one of the plans I like to, since it is the one size fits you approach, and what I found to be most successful is the Mediterranean eating plan. So that plan incorporates everything: healthy fats, a little alcohol, fruits, vegetables, a little bit of plant-based, which is kind of a big thing now, is to get some plant-based eating into there. Mm-hmm. And it's also anti-inflammatory. So everything on there has anti-inflammatory properties. What I found with that plan is it could be modified. There's a ton of foods that people like on it. So I have found that that's been extremely successful. I personally follow that plan. I've done everything from the cabbage soup diet to the tab to intermittent fasting and then breaking it with something else. I've tried everything, but
broth
it just
afterwards.
Yes, but not everything works for everybody. So because every individual is different, every body responds differently, and that's one of the things that that I try to understand about the person as a whole is some people are great eating a lot of dairy. I'm not one of those.
I'm from Wisconsin. You can give me all the dairy you want.
There you go. I don't know what New Jersey is. Maybe we just eat a lot of tomatoes, but I'm not sure. Anyway.
I think also, too, you hit the nail on the head. Also, schedule. I do love intermittent fasting because it worked a lot with my schedule. Mm-hmm. But then I realized it didn't work when I was doing my morning workouts, and I'm starving myself until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
No muscle put on.
Yeah, exactly. It was crushing me.
Yep.
Right. So you got to figure out if you work out in the afternoon and the evenings. Well, great. Do a lunch. Do even kind of like a little dinner. Work out and then do a big meal at the end.
Yep.
Great. It works for you. was not working for me for a while, unless I
Yeah.
was doing that workout plan.
And it's hard to go back. So a lot of people, what they do is they go on an eating plan, then they go off of it. Then they end up, unfortunately, they'll gain the weight back, or they don't like the results that they're seeing. Then they come see me and they'll say, well, this is what I used to do. And then I'm like, well, that's not going to work again. And 9 times out of 10, it really won't.
Right.
Because your body's like, yep, we did this before. We're moving on. So you have to re-look at everything.
Yeah.
So that's how I like to approach it.
So if you guys haven't taken something away today, you have to figure out what works for you. Right. And this is where she can help, reach out to her. Obviously, that's your job. That's what you do. You help people in a lot of different ways, right? You're not just helping them go to the gym and do certain workouts, how many sets and how many reps, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at it from a holistic standpoint. And so if you're not feeling right, you want to take charge with making your body the only one you got, the best that it possibly can be, reach out. How do they get in touch with you?
So I have a website, balancenutritionlifestyle.com, so they can reach out through there. I've got Facebook, Instagram, Francesca Scerbo, so you could just look me up over there. So I'm easily accessible.
Awesome. If you guys have any trouble getting in touch with her, let us know. We can point you in the right direction too. I appreciate you coming on. Fitness has always been a passion of mine. Trying to be healthier. I've done, like I said, everything under the sun. I did the 75 hard, which was amazing.
Oh, nice.
But I will say for anyone, yes, it has, a diet, a part of it. And you know what? I know what mine was? It was no added sugar. And so that was a huge thing, and I felt amazing by no added sugar. I did have sugars through fruits and different things like that, but just no added sugar helped me tremendously. But anyways, I will say this. The 75 hard is not a diet in a sense. It is a mental thing. It's getting up and doing it and finding the willpower. But I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, sharing the journey, and obviously giving us and the listeners nuggets of information on how to better assist making the best version of themselves through health and fitness. So,
excellent.
Thank you for coming on. Obviously sponsored here by Visions Media. We're on the Regenhard Report, and we're here in Venture X. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to her, reach out to me. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.